This session of the Minnesota Senate Committee on Agriculture, Veterans, Broadband, and Rural Development for Wednesday, March 25th is now in session, and it's a little after 3:10. Folks, we got some fascinating, cool stuff to do today. We're going to go over some policy provisions for our policy omnibus bill that we're putting together today, and then we're going to pass that and be done. We're also going to talk about fish eggs, and that's pretty much the deal for the day. Thanks all for being here. We're going to begin with our discussion of the Senate File 4561, Agricultural Policy Provisions and Modifications. Members, you will recall that we discussed the recommendations that we received from the Department of Agriculture in our last session. So we're familiar with everything that is in this bill, but we do know that there's some more stuff we want to put in it and some more stuff that we want to talk about, and so we are open to that now. So we're going to begin. I'm going to move the A2 amendment, which is putting the bill together in its basic shape. Members, is there any discussion of the A2 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A2 amendment is adopted. Now, I'd like to propose the A10 amendment, which fixes the A2 amendment and a couple things as well. Any discussion of the A10 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed? The A10 amendment is adopted. Now we have a couple things that are a little bit more substantive, so we can begin to have discussion of those amendments now. Members, if you have any that you would like to offer. And Gene, I'm looking at you. Senator Dornick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the A4 amendment?
Senator Dornick moves the A4 amendment. To your amendment, Senator Dornick.
So this amendment was a bill, but it just didn't make it in time. So appreciate you taking this and considering it. So I'll just read a little bit about it, and then we do have testifiers if we need one, or somebody from Department of Ag could speak to it too. But so this is a correction, serves to correct an insufficiency that is costing the Department of Agriculture some time. At the issues are labeling and requirements for soil and plant amendments. These products are not fertilizer or pesticides. These products serve to improve the soil structure or the health of the plant itself. Currently, manufacturers of these soil and plant amendments are required to list both the beneficial substances as well as the inert ingredients along with the amounts. This essentially requires manufacturers to write out their recipe for the product on the label for all to see. This bill will update the labeling requirements to match what many other states have already adopted. In fact, the proposed labeling guidelines are from the guidance developed by the National Organization for State Regulators, including Minnesota. Moreover, to ensure transparency is not lost, the department will require that a certificate of composition is submitted to the department at the time of registration. This will ensure the department continues to have the information needed to ensure the products they register meet the necessary requirements. And there is no fiscal cost, and I have not heard of any opposition, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Dornick. You had me at free. Members, any other discussion of the A4 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A4 amendment is adopted. Thank you, Senator Dornick. Senator Holstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to offer the A3 amendment.
Senator Holstrom moves the A3 amendment. To your amendment, please, Senator Holstrom.
Yes. This amendment, thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment looks to add off-road vehicles into the agritourism activity exclusions that allow for an individual to, or an organization to have a rider or a waiver, to allow them waivers. This has been somewhat vetted, pretty common, simple thing. There's three agritourism businesses in the state that are currently doing this, and we just want to make sure that they have the protections that they need.
Thank you, Senator Holstrom. Pretty simple intervention here. Members, any questions or comments on the A4 amendment, A3 amendment? Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Holstrom, can you tell me, does this change the weight restrictions or anything on the ATVs?
It would not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Dames, would you mind repeating your question, please? I apologize. Senator Westrom was distracting me. I take no responsibility. Senator Dames, could you repeat your question, please?
I had just asked if this would change the weight restrictions on these off-road vehicles.
Senator Holstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, like I said, I do not believe it would. Again, this is just allowing for them to use waivers and protect themselves. I can't imagine that those waivers would be valid if they allowed for an irresponsible use of the machinery.
Thank you, Senator Holstrom. Senator Dames. Thank you. Members, any other questions or comments on the A3 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A3 amendment is adopted. Members, other amendments. I will offer the A6 amendment. Members, the A6 amendment has to do with cell-cultured food, a bill that Senator Draheim brought to us. This simply tweaks that slightly when it comes to the purveyor's knowledge of where a food comes from. It doesn't hold them liable as much any longer. It's a very simple, straightforward alteration to Senator Draheim's bill. Any questions or comments? Senator Holstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know that I have the A6 amendment, but when you say that it's the change that it makes from Draheim's original bill, is it, I want to clarify, is it just saying that if they don't know that it was created there? Okay.
Sorry, I should say that out loud. Yes, Senator Holstrom, that's basically what the bill does, in my understanding. Senator Holstrom, that amendment was passed out. It should be in your pile somewhere. Members, any other questions on the A6 amendment around cell-cultured foods? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? A6 amendment is now adopted. All right, members, other amendments or points of discussion to the bill?
Mr. Chair, I have the A7 amendment.
Senator Kupec moves the A7 amendment. Senator Kupec, to your bill, please.
Sure. This is the veterinary vet techs and the veterinarian part of the bill. When we took the amendment last time on the bill, it was discovered that by taking the amendment, we had kind of messed up something in the bill. And so the revisor caught this along with our counsel here, Ms. Painter, and said, you need to fix that. So I'm taking them at their word that we need to fix that. They're smart people.
Thank you, Senator Kupec, for your labor and your trust. Members, any questions or comments on the A7 amendment dealing with the veterinarian technicians?
I have them.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A7 amendment is adopted. Members, other amendments or points of discussion? Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, I'd offer the A9 amendment.
Senator Westrom offers the A9 amendment. Senator Westrom, to your amendment, please.
Mr. Chair, members, this language would help the deer farmers, the family deer farms that are kind of mired in a difficult situation with the enforcement of this current statute. This would just still require all the fencing and the containment of, but it would get rid of what's become kind of onerous language about having any sort of physical content through a fence. And so this would just help clarify that they would, it wouldn't restrict every possible piece of physical contact if two deers happen to stand, one in the free roaming and one in the fence, would happen to touch noses or make some sort of incidental contact that way and help with the double fencing issue that we've been hearing about. And so this would just take those few words out of the statute so it would be easier for them to comply.
Thank you for this amendment, Senator Westrom. My perspective is that regardless of how we feel about this issue, that the DNR needs to be much more explicit about its guidance and clear. And I think that your amendment adds clarity to a certain extent and also makes it easier for deer farmers to eventually meet whatever expectations arise once the DNR is more better able to explain what it expects from deer farmers and the legal consequences of some of the things that they're asking folks to do. I will be voting in the affirmative. The chair will be voting in the affirmative on this amendment. Members, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A9 amendment is adopted. Members, other points of discussion? Questions? About the bill as a whole, even if we're not talking amendments? Folks, Senator Kupec moves that Senate File 4561 be recommended to pass and sent to the floor of the Minnesota Senate, including the ability for staff to make technical corrections if necessary, as amended. Any discussion of that motion?
Mr. Chair.
Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, I just want to bring up briefly an amendment that I was going to bring. You and I have talked about it because of possible financial consequences. We didn't add it, but just the idea of Department of Ag and coming up with ways to offer more rotational grazing grants that we heard earlier in this committee. And so this would have been the bill to put it on if we could have at least put policy language, but just the way it worked out, there would be some issues that would have to go through finance. So I'm just bringing it up because the issue hasn't died, and MDA I know is working on this and seems to be very interested, as are many other groups, Cattlemen's, Farmers Union, Farm Bureau, Ducks Unlimited. So with or without that language, I think we can keep moving forward, and perhaps we'll need to add it on the floor if we get some positive movement elsewhere, but I'm not saying that's for sure. I'm just bringing the issue up to keep it alive and keep the discussion going and encouraging those young farmers that would benefit from it, expanding livestock in our state. And so it's not in this bill, but maybe it'll get added to the load later.
Thank you, Senator Westrom, for bringing that up. And as we've discussed, and as we heard when we heard the bill in committee, it's important stuff, and we like talking about the rotational grazing and the things that we might be able to do to help let more folks do it. But as you mentioned, the amendment in the bill that we had that could be or seems like it's all policy related does have some implications that would have financial considerations. So we would have to send the entire bill to the Finance Committee, and that's not something that's really going to work for us right now. So I appreciate your flexibility on this, and I do think we should talk about it some more, and maybe we will be able to put it somewhere else. It just can't fit in this one. Thank you. So, members, the motion still maintains. Senator Kupec moves that Senate File 4561 be recommended to, as amended, be recommended to pass and referred to the floor of the Minnesota Senate, with space for staff to make technical corrections if necessary. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Senate File 4561 as amended has been passed and sent to the floor of the Minnesota Senate. So we still have two more bills to talk about briefly. Members, we will just very quickly go back over Senate File 4069, a bill that we have discussed at length in the past and that is currently within our policy omnibus. But we would like the capacity to have it travel on its own as well. So Senator Kupec, if you would please, Senate File 4069. Is he whistling? Senator Kupec, to your bill, please.
She's like, no. Thank you very much. This is the vet tech bill or veterinarian bill that we just put in. And because we amended it we need to amend it again. So I have the A3 amendment, which will look familiar to you. And I regret that I forgot to tell Ms. Painter that it was acceptable to pass this out. Been a lot of emails today, so I'm bad on that on me. I usually like ahead, but it looks exactly like the one you just adopted.
Thank you, Senator Kupec. Senator Kupec moves the A3 amendment. I think we should have a vigorous and intense partisan debate over it.
You should wait, because you can catch me on the next bill to do cruel and unusual things to me. So don't play all your cards now.
Senator Kupec moves
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Senator Westrom.
Let's get started. Senator Kupec, can you thoroughly explain the A3 amendment? I withdraw my request.
All right, folks, we know this already, so I'm not seeing any discussion or desire, therefore, so let's say all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The A3 amendment is adopted to Senate File 4069. Any further comments that you'd like to make, Senator Kupec?
No, thank you.
Okay. Member Senate File, we have to vote on.
We have to still move the bill. Yes.
Senator Kupec moves that Senate File 4069 as amended be recommended to pass and refer to the floor of the Minnesota Senate. Any discussion to that amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Senate File 4069 as amended is headed to the floor of the Minnesota Senate. Thank you, Senator Kupec. Senator Kupec, Senate File 4332, fish eggs.
Yes.
What do you got?
So, yes, this bill has to do with the importing, stocking, transferring of fish eggs in aquaculture modification. So these are exclusively fish eggs that are brought into the state for aquaculture. So these are not for stocking purposes out in our lakes. And the DNR has identified a couple of areas of concern where they would like to make a few changes to this. And this is where you could really throw me up and ask me, for example, on line 1.14 to and 1.15 to even say any of those words, which I would not be able to pronounce. But somebody from the DNR will gladly come and explain what we are trying to do here. And I did take this to the MDA. They took a look at it. The Department of Agriculture said they were all fine with it as well.
Actually, first, I think, Senator Kupec, we should move your technical amendment.
Yes, it is and I don't have it in front of me, if you can give me the number, the A1.
Senator Kupec moves the A1 amendment. It's a technical cleanup, as I understand. Senator
Yes.
Kupec, is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay. Members, we can discuss that if you like. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? The A1 amendment is adopted. So we're talking about Senate File 4332 as amended. Mr. Tolo, if you would please, could you state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dr. Isaiah Tolo, and I'm the Fish Health Supervisor at Department of Natural Resources and the Chair of the Great Lakes Fish Health Committee. So the bill 4332, I just want to clarify quickly that this actually does have to do with eggs that are intended for stocking. So these are any fish eggs that are coming from essentially any location, whether it be out of state or in state. I want to speak on behalf of the bill in support of it. The intent of the bill is to make it easier for fish producers, including Department of Natural Resources, to produce fish with valuable fish genetics. So this has to do a lot with wild fish genetics that are of important value to Minnesota's fisheries. This is a win-win. It's just a policy bill. It's very simple for Minnesota DNR and private production programs, and there's no opposition to this change in Minnesota or in the greater Great Lakes region. We're actually becoming more in line with the way that other states are managing diseases using egg disinfection. The requested changes are simple. They're simple updates to existing fish production practices. They're in line with the best science on fish egg disinfection. And these changes will continue to protect Minnesota fisheries while making it easier for state and other producers to safely produce fish and improve fisheries in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tullo. Members, questions either for the author or his testifier or comments on the bill? Seeing none. Senator Kupec, do you have a closing statement?
Sure, thank you for not making me pronounce any of these words.
That's what I'm here for.
You can say.
Well, members, it looks like we're good. So Senate File 4332 as amended. Let's, all in favor of moving it to the floor. Senator Kupec moves that Senate File 4332 as amended be sent to the floor of the Senate. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Senate File 4332 as amended is passed and referred to the floor of the Minnesota Senate. This was a remarkably efficient day today, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for working hard. I want to just make one quick point as an element of chair's privilege. This committee works well together, and that's why today went as efficiently as it did, because we talk to each other, and we work together, and we keep focusing on what needs to be done. So I want to thank members for engaging in this work in that collaborative spirit, and also remind you that you get to go home early because you did. Is yet another incentive to work well with each other and to play nice. And if it doesn't happen anywhere else in the Senate, it's going to always happen in our Ag Committee. So that's the way we do. Members, coming up is break. We're not going to see each other for a little bit. I'll miss you all terribly. When we come back on April 8th, we're going to have a split day. Members and members of the public, you know that we share jurisdiction with the Subcommittee on Veterans Affairs, and I have been committed to keeping those two jurisdictions distinct. So we will gavel in as one committee. We will probably work together for about an hour. Then we will gavel out, and then we will become the other committee. So it'll be a split day on April 8th. You will get some kind of notice of which is going first and when and what we're going to be doing in the next couple days. Any questions, anybody? All right, there being no further business before the committee, we're now adjourned.